Hello, welcome back to Fred in the Shed. It's such a nice bright day, I thought I'd do this one in the garden. I do apologise if we do get any wind noise, it's a little bit blustery today. So we have another hit and miss model sent in from enginediy.com. So cheers, thank you for them. And this is one of their top hit and miss models. This is the RETROL HM-01, a 7cc antique hit and miss 4-stroke engine. We also have the appropriate engine stand in this second box. That is an optional extra. This does come as a DIY mounting kit. For those of you that are good with woodwork, you won't need the optional stand, but I got it in for this test. So let's crack into the boxes and have a look at this wonderful antique engine. For those of you that have maybe never owned one of these hit and miss model engines from RETROL before, I'm going to say off the top of the bat, the quality you get is absolutely astounding, especially for this price. Now these things aren't cheap, but this quality was just never available at any affordable price up until a few years ago, and these guys have really nailed it with these models. So let's go into the box. I'll take everything out as it comes. Firstly, a nice instruction book. With these models there is a little bit of tinkering needed normally to get them running. That's half of the fun of owning one of these. It is the small adjustments on the mixture screw and the timing of the engine. Hopefully we can get it running straight out of the box, but I do expect a little bit of tinkering. So we've got this instruction book here, really nice, this one actually. Now you can, if you want to, you can buy this kit in a self-construction form. So basically buy it in component form and you can put it together yourself. I know a few of you would probably like to do that. It can be very rewarding building your own engine. This one is fully assembled. There's not much difference in price. It's about another £15 more if you want the engine fully assembled. But if you do go for the build kit, very nice colour printed step-by-step instructions here. You just simply have to follow the pictures in the book. I think, you know, if you can work with a spanner and a screwdriver, if you did Meccano when you was a kid, you'll have this no problem. You'll crack along with this. Very detailed, and this booklet runs to 60 pages, including the after sales service and a complete sort of almost schematic here, diagram, all the parts. Look at that. Absolutely, almost an engineering's design there. Really good. That I really do like a good manual. Do you like to sit down with a cup of coffee? Anyway, so I'll have a little quick look at the stuff here. So yeah, we've got some spare parts here. We've got a couple of drive belts. Looks like we've got some standoffs. That might be for the additional kit for the stand that I've bought. This is good. So we've got a puller, which is like a puller like you have on a lawnmower. Some of the other kits didn't come with this and they can be quite difficult to start. You can use a cordless drill and you can get them going that way, but that's really good. Here's the ignition set. I think it's called a CDI ignition. It's just basically a coil, and in there will be a tiny little spark plug. Wow. So let's get the kit out itself. This is heavy, guys. Really heavy actually. I think it comes in at just about 2 kilos. There we go. And as I was saying about the quality, look at that, guys. There's the piston there with the conrod and the crankshaft, and just look at the quality. This is lovely and machined. Obviously all of this will need to be oiled. The gearing there, brass gearing. I mean, there's no plastic on this at all, only the ignition wiring connector like you'd expect. Really nice, such high quality. And then moving on to this side, so this is quite interesting. This is a little bit different. This is the speed restrictor, or the governor if you like, and we've got two fly balls here made out of solid brass with a retaining spring. When we get this engine going, they will expand, and I imagine this probably works like a clutch system. That will basically keep the engine under control, because a hit and miss engine will just there's no throttle as such. It's just, it sucks in fuel and it just bump, 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 and it just goes and it goes. So you need a governor which stops the valve here from working. So basically what happens, you get a power stroke, maybe 1 or 2 power strokes, like bump, bump. Then the valve opens up, and that releases the compression, and then it freewheels, so it's bump, bump. And then as it slows down, these will contract, and then the power strokes will start again. So when we run this, it will be like pump, 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 stop, or depending on the load. It's very, very clever really the way they did this. The more load you get on the flywheels here, on this drive pulley here, the more load you get, then the more compression strokes you will have in the engine. Now this is really, really nice, really heavy as well. So obviously that's where we're going to put our spark plug. You have the 2 valves here. Nothing on the exhaust valve, on the inlet valve. I think that's the inlet valve. It just works purely on the suction. Very simple design, 4-stroke as well, and then a very crude but usable carburettor here, made out of solid brass. And that's quite nice on this one as well. It's got a little retainer there. So that's stepped, that feels stepped, so that will be the mixture screw. Very important when we get this running. If we want it to, I mean it's always going to run a little bit smoky, if you like, because I'm going to run it on probably Coleman's fuel. But that is really nice actually. You can take that in very small increasements there. That feels quite nice quality. Another good thing I'm seeing straight away, now this is a total oil loss system. So you've got these 2 little reservoirs here. You'll fill this up with oil, and this will drip feed the main shaft here, the main drive shaft. So inside there we've got ball bearing races, and this will drip feed that. But I also like to see we've got an actual reservoir, which is this is a new one on me. We've got a little oil reservoir, and then as the piston comes out of the cylinder there, that will drop a tiny little amount of oil onto the piston. I probably would end up still running this on 2-stroke oil. Just adds a little bit more lubrication. Quite a basic design. Obviously these were used, I forget now, sort of towards the turn of the 18th century into the 19th century. Now then, as I was mentioning at the beginning, this is a kit design. So this is all you get in the basic engine purchase. You just get this, and then it's up to you to build your own base and supply your own fuel tank. I know a lot of you that might want to buy this in kit form. You're not going to have any trouble with that. I think if you're reasonably good at woodwork, you could make something really, really nice and turn this into a really nice display piece. Personally, my woodwork skills aren't particularly great, and haven't really got time for the video, unfortunately. So I did ask for the additional base that goes along with this. I think it's around about £100, but it does come with a really, really nice brass fuel tank. So let's have a look at that. So this is the basic rail there, which the engine is going to sit on. Seems very nicely made. We have got brass bolts going all the way through. Yeah, I mean, you can make this, as I say, anyone that's decent woodwork, and you've got the time, you could make it. What else have we got? Oh, this is nice. So this is the small little tiny fuel tank, and it has sight glasses on both sides, and that's really nicely made. And that's going to sit just at the front of the engine there. Tiny little fuel cap. It's really nice. Yeah, that is nicely made actually. And it's already quite shiny. You could probably just put a little bit of brass on that. You could polish that right up for display purposes. Couple of solid brass straps. I assume that's going to fold over there and hold the fuel tank, and then we've got some silicone hoses, fuel line basically, which will run from underneath there and then into the carburettor. And then finally we've got this. This is really nice, a solid wood little box there. So I'm assuming that just for show really, I'd have thought. Oh no, it'd probably be for the ignition, wouldn't it? Or be for the ignition timing unit. Is it the CDI? I wonder where the wires come out though. That would sit probably on the back there. Fuel tank at the front, that on the back. The engine will go there. And that just sits there. So that just, I think that just allows you for a little bit of your own invention. I think I'm going to have to drill. Seems a shame really, but I'm going to have to drill drill a hole in that just to let the spark plug wire out. I need to look at the instructions. I'm just guessing at the moment. I'm thinking that's probably going to go like that. But as I say, I'm just guessing. So let me look at the instructions and that'll give me a better idea. Very nice though, isn't it? It already looks decent. Right, so I've looked at the instructions. I think this is how I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to put the coil in there and then the battery pack on top. Now it doesn't provide you with a battery pack. You need to generate, I think it's 6 to 7 volts, obviously DC. So I think 3 AA batteries, or maybe if you've got a small lithium battery, will probably fit quite nicely in there. So yeah, a little bit of work to do for me just to get all of these cables and the spark plug lead to neatly fit in the box. And then when it's done, like I say, I can fit the box on the back there and run everything out.
Out by the pine trees, past the old wooden fence, Fred's in his shed making new friends with a CB radio and a smile so wide. He's talking about sex with a twinkle in his eye. From early in the morning till the sun goes down, he's broadcasting live for the folks in town. The stories about truckers and tales on the road. Fred's in the shed where the magic unfolds. Fred in the shed with his trusty CB. He's a friend to...
So here's the finished model, and I think you'll agree with me, it's come out really, really nice. Obviously you saw that I polished the fuel tank and just put a coat of lacquer over the wood, which I think has made it a lot deeper. Just finished it off really. When it comes down to the electrics, fitted a switch just for the ignition there, which means I don't have to keep disconnecting the battery. I've used a PP3 9-volt battery to power the ignition ballast there. You can use 3 AA's, or you can use a lithium ion pack if you've got one, but that fits in there quite neat and that will do the job. So I've just got to work out the fueling now. Now this will run on regular unleaded petrol, and you can run it on lighter fuel as well. Everyone's got their own choices. I use this, which is a camping fuel. It's very clean compared to petrol. It's Coleman's fuel, and personally I just like to mixing a little bit of 2-stroke oil just in with the fuel. You don't necessarily need to do that because it's obviously got an oil feed there and there and there, but that main oil feed is for the piston. And then you've got to fill the hopper with a little bit of distilled water if you've got it, or tap water if you're only going to run it for a short time. A couple of things that I messed up on when I originally explained the engine. When I looked at a little bag of parts, which I haven't got out here, I said they were drive belts, the little silicone belts. They're not. They're piston rings basically. The piston seals with little silicone seals, and that's why they give you spares in case they wear out. And a little piece of metal in there is a feeler gauge for the spark plug. Now, that's one criticism of the model. The spark plug is recessed in the cylinder head, and I had a hell of a job getting that tight. Had to be very, very careful with a pair of long nose pliers in the end. My little spanner, my box spanner, was way too fat to fit in there. On my other models, the spark plug isn't recessed, and yeah, that was a bit of a problem. I think the only other problem I had was that little tiny screw there. You just couldn't get at it to tighten it down properly with an Allen key, so we had to use a bit of brute force with that. But other than that, it's a very, very nice model. Very, very nice indeed. Very detailed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to quickly oil everything. You do have to oil all of the gears, of course. You can't run it dry, and fill up the reservoir. I like this oil. I've been using this for my steam engines for a number of times. This is like Singer Super Oil, very, very thin oil. I think everyone's got their own choice of oils. Basically, it doesn't really matter, I don't think, as long as you put some oil on all of the journals and all of the bearing races. So I'm going to quickly do that now. Almost good to go now. The first thing we need to do is make sure there's no air in the fuel line, so just got to carefully pull the fuel line off. Make sure we've got some fuel going in. Now with this particular engine here, it's a little bit different to the other ones because you have a fuel feed and an air bleed screw, so you're going to have to try and balance the mixture, which adds a level of realism to it. So we're going to have to try and adjust the fuel going in and then the mixture, the air going out, well, in as well, if that makes sense. Almost forgot, just got to add a little water to the hopper there, just in case it does start first time. Okay, now we're ready to go. Right, so we're definitely not firing, so just need to check, switch the coil off, and just need to check that HT lead there. Make sure we've got a contact on the plug. I think that's got a contact. I'm going to open up a little bit more fuel. I need to just mark the adjustment there so I can do it in quarter turns. Just check the spec, and it actually does says maximum of 7.4 volts, so I wonder if I'm overloading the coil pack there. So I'm going to swap down to a 4.5 volt pack and see if we get any better joy. Swapped over to 4.5 volts. Still can't get the engine to start, unfortunately. So this is what's sort of good in a way when you get to this stage, is because you go back to basics. You take out the spark plug, short it out on the block, spin it over and see if you get a spark. I've taken it out, it's not drenched in petrol, so it's not flooded. These things can flood quite quickly, unfortunately. Once again, being recessed, that's a little bit difficult to take out. Normally you can get them out in a jiffy. So hopefully you can see this. I've got a spark. So I didn't build this one myself. Just going to check with the inlet valve there that we've got some compression. Yeah, and I can feel that giving compression stroke there. Yeah. So yeah, we've got some compression. So we've got compression, we've got a spark, so it must be fuel. So I'm going to pretty much fully open the fuel valve, which is sort of like putting it on choke really. Got the air valve fully open as well. Hopefully it will fire. It'll be very rich, but hopefully we'll get a spark and a fire. Right, I've set it to 4-stroke mode, which means it will fire on every stroke. That should give me a chance. I noticed there was an air bubble in the fuel line. It was a bit of an airlock. I had to take the fuel line off and then squirt some fuel back into the air line. I think that might have been the issue, preventing it to fire. I'm a little more hopeful. I've lost quite a bit of water though, tipping it around, so if it does fire I need to get some water in it fairly quick. Right, ignition on. Let's see how we get on this time. It's a lot easier if you've got an electric drill. You can whiz these over, but in a way trying to get it to start is half the fun of tinkering. But yeah, I think that airlock was definitely my problem. Just below the carburetor as well. Right. Okay, 4-stroke mode. Let's see how we go. It's running. A bit more fuel. Going. Oh. Might have just starved a little bit on the fuel there. We're getting there. There she goes. Hit and miss mode. See the centrifugal weights there doing their job. Now this should put it into 4-stroke mode. There it goes. Isn't that nice? Back into hit and miss mode. Runs really smooth for a hit and miss engine. I think those that rubber helps on the base, but it's not throwing itself around. Not too much anyway. Got it running on a 9-volt now. I'm not sure if that's really the correct voltage, to be perfectly honest. You might not want to copy that. It does look a little bit neater though, but it seems to run okay. So as we put load on this, it should reduce the display of the centrifugal bearings there, ball bearings. There we go, it starts to fire. It starts to fire on more strokes. Back to idle. Really clever. So if we get it to run on 4-stroke, I think it needs a little bit more air if we do that. Rev it up. Goes, doesn't it? There we go then. I think we'll bring this one to a close. If you like tinkering with engines, but you don't really want the real thing cluttering up your backyard or something, then yeah, this is ideal. You can sort of play with this literally on your outside table. to your heart's content, especially if you love tinkering with mixture and things. As always, I will leave a link to this in the description. I do get quite a decent discount from EngineDIY.com or Engine DIY store, so look out for my discount code if you are interested in making a purchase. But as I say, also I would also recommend you have a look around the Engine DIY website, because there are some amazing models that they do, cheaper ones than this. You don't have to spend this amount of money, but there's something there for everyone, including jet engines, would you believe. But anyway, I'll leave it up to you guys. I'd like to thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. There's the thumbs up from Fred in the Shed. If you get a second, just hit me a thumbs up down below before you go. I'd appreciate that. But as always, please, please, please look after each other for me. Catch you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Fred's in the shed where the magic unfolds. Fred in the shed with his trusty CB. He's a friend to the lonely on a frequency.